Oscar Bevis for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. I'm here in London and I'm joined by Mr. David Haye. David, how are you?
Fantastic. All is very well, my friend.
October the 26th. Now, all the talk was about Derek at the press conference. All the talk since has been about him because of the Joseph Parker pullout. We've ended up with Chisora Price, which in many people's eyes, especially domestically, is a better fight. Talk to me about it.
Yeah, I agree. It's a fight where everybody has an opinion. You know, both two very popular British heavyweights, great personalities, both of them. Both, you know, always give 100%. They always go out there, guns blazing. Both have shown vulnerabilities. Both have been knocked out in the past. Both have come back from those knockout losses and really improved. You know, just off both of their last performances. You know, Derek Chisora's last performance was against Artur Szpilka, who on paper at least was a big favourite. You know, the experience that he had, you know, the fact he went 9 rounds and with Deontay Wilder showed that he was a world level heavyweight. Awkward southpaw. Derek Chisora went through him. He went out there. It was a real big statement he made by just putting it clean on Artur Szpilka, who just wasn't able to deal with it, and knocked him out. Showreel knockout, one of the knockouts of the year. Also, David Price, you know, his fight against Dave Allen. Dave Allen was riding high, coming off that beautiful stoppage victory over, you know, the Lucas Brown, who had a fantastic record going into that. He was confidence was riding high. So two fighters, you know, who are at that crossroads stage in their career where they can't afford another loss. You know, both are in their mid-30s. Both realise this is it. You know, it's O2 Arena. You know, plenty of tickets sold. Every single person in that arena knows both fighters very, very well. They've seen the ups, they've seen the downs, and they support them. You know, whenever David Price fights someone, the whole of the British public is behind him. Whenever Derek fights someone, the whole of the British public. And now you've got these guys both coming together. And I think their styles are going to gel very, very well. You know, I've known David Price for many years. Lovely man, great fighter, solid amateur. He's helped me over the years, you know, time and time again with sparring when I've been fighting tall guys. And if you can get past David Price's jab, you can get past anybody's jab. And he's very hard to get close to. And if you're lucky enough to get into range, you've got to make sure you don't walk onto one of his uppercuts or his right hands down the pipe, as he's probably one of the hardest single punching heavyweights on the planet. Unfortunately, he hasn't been able to convert that. He's been very unlucky with the guys that he's had these losses, have ended up getting failed for drugs. They've been drug cheats, and that's heavily affected his career to a negative. So you know, he's due some luck. Let's hope he doesn't get it all against Chisora. But I definitely feel he hasn't fulfilled his full potential. Whether that was down to him or whether it was down to his opponent's juicing, taking performance-enhancing drugs in the fights that they've been failed. They failed after the fight, after he's been knocked out. I'm not sure if it affected. Did they change on the record those losses to a no contest?
I don't think so.
That's terrible.
I don't think so.
It's like an Olympic gold medalist getting popped for steroids, and then they just leave the record as him winning, and it's not fair. You can't do that. But that's what I'm saying. He's been very, very unlucky in his career, it sounds a bit mean, but I hope he doesn't get any luck on the 26. You know, Derek's the same. You know, he lost that fight. His last fight he lost was against Dillian Whyte, where he was, you know, winning the fight. You know, had a couple of points deducted and got a bit desperate. He felt a little short-changed, but you know, didn't close the show, and it was a frustrating night. Great performance, great entertainment for the crowd, but you know, Derek's come back from that and improved immensely, and he's got a nice little string of victories, and he's looking to continue that forward and upward trajectory to a heavyweight title fight.
For most fighters, an opponent change like this would be a bit of a nightmare because stylistically, Parker and Price are so different. But we know Del, and we know that regardless of his opponent, in a big fight, he's going to come forward and he's going to throw shots. So is he sort of the perfect fighter for a situation like this? Because regardless, we know what he's going to bring.
I'm actually pleasantly surprised that because Derek sparred with David Price, and anyone who sparred with David Price will tell you he's an absolute nightmare to get to because he's got such long arms. He's got very fast feet as well. Been underrated feet. He can get out of range, and when a big guy moves his feet, you fall short. You try and launch him from out of range. He's got good timing and distance. The only time he seems to struggle is when he tries to punch up close. because he's got such long arms, the leverage, he finds it hard to throw punches in close. So obviously he's going to want to keep Derek at arm's length. Derek's going to want to get onto his chest, working inside. So I think it's just a perfect mix of styles, perfect gel for opponents.
There were so many names that we heard were put in the mix. Hunter and Povetkin were two of them. We're expecting them to fight possibly each other in Saudi Arabia. Domestically, Joyce is obviously a massive fight. First things first, you two are next to each other at Royal Albert Hall and BT. Was it awkward? It looked it.
Did it look awkward?
It did.
Why is that? How
it
so?
Just did look a bit awkward between you and Joe. Was it not?
It
No?
didn't feel awkward for me.
Okay. Yeah, obviously domestically a massive fight. This offer that was eye-opening. Talk to me about that. Frank Ron said he sent an offer for Joyce to step in that was eye-opening.
Yeah, Derek signed for a fight on the 26th of.
Did they wanted the date moved?
Pardon?
They wanted the date.
I think the
Joyce.
proposition was him to completely pull off the show and fight somewhere else. You know, Derek's a sort of man of his word. If he says he's going to fight on a date, and it would potentially affect the date, him pulling off the. Let's say Derek did take that fight on another network, it would then heavily affect the show. You know, it probably will no longer be a pay-per-view event. People have paid tickets to see Derek, so a lot of people are out of pocket, and you know, he's not that type of guy to try and do the old switcheroo last minute. So the fact that we got an opponent like David Price, you know, he wasn't looking at any other offers. He just wanted to. Once this fight's done, he'll talk to anybody after this fight. But he knows this fight is a must-win fight for him, and he needs to really step his game up.
Eddie said that 1,000 tickets have been sold since the announcement of this fight. Obviously, we saw Dale at the press conference say that he is the main attraction. There is actually proof to back up that when you're selling out the O2, a lot of it will be Derek Chisora fans. What sort of discussions have you and Eddie had, or discussions have there been surrounding that?
Not that much. It was a bit of banter, I think. It was, whether someone's coming to see Derek or Josh, it's irrelevant. They're going to be there, they're going to buy the ticket, they're going to enjoy the fights. There hasn't been that much talk regarding it. Now we've had an opponent change to David Price. You know, it's not on paper. It's not a former heavyweight champion fighting. It's a former British champion fighting another former British champion. So it's more of a domestic heavyweight clash opposed to a former world champion looking to get back at fighting for world honours, and a fighter who has beaten the current unified heavyweight champion in Andrew Ruiz Jr. So it does change it a little bit. So a lot of what was maybe said earlier might not be applicable now that the Joseph Parker fight is no longer happening in there. It's David Price, but it's probably more enticing now that it's David Price, because more people in the venue would have known David Price, would have supported him over the years, may have supported him at the Olympics going back to 2008. So there's a deep, rich history with David Price that the boxing fans will know and be fully familiar with. So they're going to be more interested possibly in this fight than they would have been a Parker fight. So there are different avenues and different arguments you could have, but it's a great show. Tune in, Sky Box Office. It's going to be a great fight. Both fights, the progress. Josh Taylor fight's going to be an absolute barnstormer as well. And it's got some tasty knockout specials on the show.
And just finally, one last question. Joshua Ruiz fighting Saudi Arabia for Joshua's belts. We expect Pulev to be the IBF mandatory, Usyk the WBO mandatory, providing his transition to heavyweight goes as smoothly as we expect. If them belts do become fragmented, obviously we know Joshua and Derek are quite good friends, but if they do become fragmented, plan for Derek to perhaps fight for a world title next year, given that he comes through David?
He can't look too far into the future, but you know the end goal is not only to challenge for a heavyweight title, but to win it. And to be able to win it, you have to be in a position to challenge for it. And to be in a position to challenge for it, you need to win fights like he's going to have on the 26th of October against David Price. So one step at a time, but yeah, his whole plan is to become heavyweight champion. That it doesn't get any higher than that for a professional heavyweight. So he's fallen short in the past. He's making the necessary adjustments in his lifestyle and in training to give himself the best opportunity. So we'll see on Saturday at the O2 Arena just how much what his chances may look like.
Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Let you get back to training, Derek,
Cool.
or I won't say too much more. David Haye, thank you for speaking to IFL TV.
problems.
Catch up with you soon.